Hello and welcome to Piginhatwoodcrafts. This is an update video for the tutorial that I previously made on my channel showing how to make business card collages, as you can see here. Now, these are my images that I've previously done for myself, and maybe just by fluke they all seem to have turned out okay with no real issues. So I'll zoom in. To me they look all okay. There's nothing that really stands out to say there's anything wrong with them. And if you've tried the tutorial that I created, you might find that your images have come out the same, that you haven't had any real issues. And I couldn't see any problems. Now, it wasn't until I was working on this image for a friend that problems started to arise when I came to stick this card onto the board. And you can see there, the wheels don't line up. And first of all, I thought I'd made an error with the card, so I engraved a new one, same issue. And then when I started looking across at the rest of the image, you could see things weren't quite really lining up as they should. You can see here on the front of the engine, you can see it's not really lined up, it's out of alignment. So there's obviously something quite wrong. And I couldn't figure out what it was. So I went back and I closely looked at all my images. And these ones here seemed okay. But it wasn't until I took a closer look at Venom that I'd never noticed this. I look at it every day. And you can actually see Venom's tongue isn't lined up. So there was obviously some error in my method of creating these collages. So I spoke to Kevin, who's the chap that took this photo and who I'm making the collage for, and he pointed out that my schoolboy error was that I'm not taking into account the grid spacing, and I need to create the image the full size and then extract the grid from the image. And although you'll lose a small fraction of the image, everything will line up, as is the case with the finished product. So you can see here, this is now complete and it looks very nice and everything lines up beautifully. You can see there, the wheels are lined up, the engine's lined up, the front of the engine. So that was my error. So this video is going to address that and take you through the steps. It's not going to show you all the details because you can watch the previous video, and all this really covers is your initial sizing and slicing of the image. Everything else in the previous video is good. Okay, so if we go to Lightburn, this is my backboard grid that I always use, and I always do the same size. So for this particular image, it's in landscape. If I wanted it to be in portrait, I would just rotate it by 90 degrees. I also like to have a 2.5mm gap between each card, and in here each card, as you can see up here at the size, is 86 by 54, which is the size of the business cards I get from Amazon. So to work out the size of the image, once you've laid out all your business cards with the spacing of choice in the arrangement you like, you then have to add this red border, which I use red for the cut layer. And again, it is 2.5mm away from all the cards. And so that red rectangle is the size of my image that I need to resize. So I need to make sure my image is 356.5 by 285. So we'll head over to GIMP. Okay, so we're in GIMP. I've already pre-processed the image. The details are in the original tutorial. So what we want to do now is we just want to check the size of this image to make sure it's correct for our backboard. So if we click on the image menu and go to scale image and change it to millimeters, you'll see now that I have the width and height of 356.53 by 284.99. Now, regardless of my unchecking the maintain aspect ratio, if I put in 356.5, GIMP changes it to 0.53, and likewise if I change it to 285, it changes it to 284.99. I don't know why it does it, but It doesn't seem to have any effect on the output, so I won't worry about it. So from the previous tutorial, you should have already have your tile splitter, and we'll go for split tiles by rows. The dialog comes up, and because I've done this so many times before, it's remembered the settings. So I want to have 5 rows, 4 columns, and I don't want to change the resize the image. So I'll do OK, and immediately we've got a problem there that GIMP doesn't like 4211 because it's not divisible by 4. Not being a math person, I shall go to my calculator. Excuse me, fumbling. Come on. So we'll do 4211 divided by 4. So it's 1052.75. So it's the 0.75 that's the issue. So I want to work out now what is 1052 times 4. So 1052 times 4 is 4208. So I need to change, go to image, scale image. I need to change 4211 to 4208, and I'll untag the maintain aspect ratio. Okay, and we'll scale that. So we've now resolved the error with the width, but I also know that it's going to do exactly the same for the height. That comes up, and I'll do OK. And it's going to say 33666 isn't divisible by 5. But if I knock that, I already know this because I've done it before. I know that it's actually 3365. So again, I'll go back in, image, scale image, uncheck maintain aspect ratio, 5. So you'll have to do this for your own images, because obviously, you know, you might decide to do a square image or a much bigger one. So you need to make sure you have your image at the right size, which is divisible by the number of cards, rows and height. So there you go. So we've now got our image ready. Now when I go to the layer menu, tiles and split tiles, it'll come up. And if I do OK, you can see here now, bingo, there it goes, working away, slicing that image up for us. So just give that a second to finish what it's doing. And there you go. Okay, so I'll scroll down here at the bottom because I want to start from the top of the image. So I've selected that, and you can see there that's highlighted. Now at the moment, all of these images, all these slices, each one of them are too big. They're basically incorporating the grid, and it's the grid that we don't want. So with the first, before I do the next thing, before I copy, sorry for that blip, we need to create another image which is the exact size of our business card. So we'll do File, New, change it to millimeters, and you'll see GIMP being quirky again. So if I say 86, it tags on a 0.2, and there I'll change that to 54, and it tags on a 0.2. I don't know why, but it does. And then just do OK. So this is now our business card template. Go back up to this top bar up here, and you can see our image. You click on there again. We've got our top left tile, the very first tile highlighted. And if you do Control C, that's copied it. And then you come back up to the top again, select our business card template, and do Control V, and that's pasted it in. And what you can see there now is GIMP has centered that image into the tile, and the border is the part that we are happy to lose, because that's the border on our cutboard, on our backboard, sorry. So without further ado, we go up to layer, and we want to layer image to size. And you can see there now, it's got rid of that part that we don't need. So that now is our very first business card slice. You come down here to this little green anchor and just hit that to bind that all together, the pasted layer to the background. So now what we need to do is we need to come up to File, Export As, and I have a folder on my desktop named Tiles. I'll select that, and I'll call this image 1. Click on export and click on export. Now, depending on the quality or the size of your image, it will either be really, really quick, or it might just take a second or two like that. So that's our first tile created. So I'll just go back and go through and show you another one. So I'll next select the next tile along, do Control C to copy, come back up to the top and select my business card template, Control V to paste. We can see it's centered and we've got the border. You come up to your layers menu, layer to image size to get rid of that border, down to the green anchor, bind them together, up to file, export as, and because it's already remembered where I was last time and it's got the previous file there, I just hit the number 2 because that's going to be the second file, export and export. And then you just go back and select your next image in line and you just work your way through. So what I'll do now is I'll finish those off and I'll come back to you when I've got them all exported. Okay, so I'm back again, and if I go into my tiles folder, you can see now there's the 20 individual tiles, one for each business card. So before you actually start cutting them out, or shall I say engraving them, it's probably a good idea to do what I did just to make sure, belt and braces, that I wasn't going mad and it is going to work. I'd come back into my grid template and I would import all those images. So if I just go to import, and I've already navigated to the tiles folder, click on the first one, go to the last one, hold your shift key down, click to highlight them all or select them all and do open. And there they all are. So what I do now is I will click on the first one. I know that's my bottom right image. So if I now go to, I've selected the first image, selected the bottom right rectangle, I've come up and uncentered. So you can see there now that's centered it onto that tile placeholder. And then I just go through each tile in sequence and place them, as you can see here. I'll quickly do this. Ignore the beep. No. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll get those sorted and I'll come back when they're all in place. Okay, so all the images are now correctly aligned, centered onto their respective placeholder. And when we zoom in, we can see now that misalignment has been dealt with and we have a much better quality image, which I'm sure Kevin will be very happy with once I send it to him. Okay, so now all you need to do is carry on with the original video that shows you how to process these in XCS, Lightburn if you wish to use a diode laser, and then how to put it all together. If there's any GIMP users out there that knows a better way to centering the image rather than doing a copy and paste and then layer to size, please do comment below and I'll update the video accordingly. And here's a finished product. Kevin's very happy with it. I'll be popping that in the post soon. You can see here that alignment's come out lovely. And it still amazes me that the F1 can do this, make a photo appear on a metal business card. But I hope this update has helped you. Comment below if you feel like it, and I'll catch you on the next one.